Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Best Show Ever podcast. I'm your host, Cam Herdt, and it's the podcast about the best shows that people have ever seen in their lives. And this week we've had Jake Brownstein from Eggy on, and the other episode, if you've listened to that one, it's also out right now. We've got another Connecticut person, another Connecticut live music person on this episode. And also Vince. Vince is not from Connecticut, but he's a good buddy of our other guest, Marina Weiss. It's Marina Weiss and Vince DiMichele. That is about the clunkiest intro I could have ever given them. But we're keeping it. We're keeping it. We're embracing mistakes. We're embracing ourselves in this episode. This is a really great conversation with two buddies. Vince and Marina have both become buddies of mine over the last year. We met at Dick's and have seen shows together since. We talk a little bit about seeing Goosemas together. And we talk about some of the shows that they've seen together. They had a really cool connection when I first met them. I met them individually that weekend at Dick's. And when I met Vince, he was like, I love your podcast. Super nice of him. And he was like, if I ever get to do it, I would want to do it with Marina, my friend. And I was like, oh, I've heard a lot about Marina. I haven't met Marina. Later that night, same night, I met Marina on the grassy knoll at Dick's. And she was like, I love your podcast. Super nice of her. And she was like, if I ever get to do it, I would want to do it with Vince. And they said that independently of each other. They didn't know that each other had said that. That was just good buddy stuff to me. And I was like, I cannot pass up on that opportunity. So I interviewed both Vince and Marina together on this episode. They talk about shows they've seen together. They talk about shows they've seen separately. I want to shout them both out on this episode, as well as have them be my guests. Vince is in a band called Loom. Loom made a song called What I Mean. That's their new single out right now. And I love that song so much that I used it for everything for this season 2 of my podcast here. I use it on my clips that I post of the show. I use it as the bumper music that you're about to hear in a second. I love the song. I think it's great. Vince plays bass in that band. And so I was happy to share a buddy's music on the podcast. And so if you've gotten into that song or if you've looked up Loom, you're about to hear from one of the guys in the band in this episode. I also want to shout out Marina for something very, very, very cool she did this weekend. Right now, I'm recording this on St. Patrick's Day. This intro is being recorded on St. Patrick's Day, 3/17/24. We recorded this conversation a little while ago. But Marina is super cool. She has a lot of fun. She does a lot of cool shit. And she knows cool people. She happens to know one of the drummers in the Tedeschi Trucks band with Susan Tedeschi and Derek Trucks. My parents are huge Tedeschi Trucks fans. My dad talks about Derek Trucks on his episode of the Best Show Ever podcast in season 1. Little plug for season 1. They've seen like 50 plus shows. They're like major Tedeschi Trucks fans. And they saw them yesterday in St. Augustine, Florida. And Marina hooked it up and got my folks backstage passes, and they got to meet the whole band. My parents called me last night like they were like 11-year-olds that just met in sync or something. They were like freaking out. Oh my God, I got to shake Susan Tedeschi's hand. Oh my God, I talked to Derek. I looked him right in the eyes. Marina's friend Tyler, who's the drummer in that band and has been for Tedeschi or Susan Tedeschi for a long time as well, was super kind to them. I just want to shout out Marina for that whole experience. Incredible experience that she gave my folks this weekend. They are over the moon about it. Can't stop talking. I'd imagine they didn't go to bed last night, just sitting up talking about that whole experience. So thank you, Marina. Thank you. And one final shout out I want to do. This is a long intro this week. It's a long episode. We're embracing it. This sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now, if you're watching the video, it looks like a normal ass champion sweatshirt, you know? But There's actually some design work on the back of this sweatshirt by a buddy of mine named Cole here in Southern California. Makes a lot of great merch. You'll see him outside of a lot of shows here in Southern California, but his artwork is on the back. It's a back hit. Let's see if you guys can even see that. I'm gonna do a little like squat here. Very cool, sort of wizard steely situation. Man, if I had a producer, they would be able to tell me whether or not I actually got that in the shot, and I'm gonna find out after I download this recording of this intro. But check out King Cole on Instagram. He makes a lot of really cool stuff, and he puts his art on other cool apparel that he finds. And it's always super fitting. It's always nice. That's enough intro. Check out this awesome conversation that I've had with Vince, DiMichele, and Marina Weiss. And enjoy this song from Loom, What I Mean, In Between. We're here though. We're doing this again. We had so much fun the first time. We had to do it again.
Take two. I'm like less nervous and also more nervous in different ways,
Yeah, you said you're gonna like kind of change it up from last time.
Well, the good news is that I go to a ridiculous amount of concerts, so I have a million stories. So let's,
I was gonna say you probably have news stories from since we talked last.
I do.
I gotta imagine. I did.
Yeah, for
So,
sure, of course.
Sick.
I went to Phish for 4 nights at the Garden, I saw Gamehenge,
Since we talked last, you saw Gamehenge.
That has happened since then, yeah.
Yeah. So
Not
now
to
we're
rub
not
it
gonna
in
talk
or
about
anything.
No. Please do. Rub it in.
Rub it in.
Here's what I'll say. Gamehenge was sick. So cool. Very lucky, blessed to be there. There was like an element of surprise that was missing that happens on New Year's at MSG. First of all, like since it started the second set, the set break between set 2 and set 3 is usually the most fun set break. And you're like, what are they gonna do? During the set break, we're all just like, we're doing it. This is happening.
Here comes Gamehenge.
Like this is what's happening. Which was fun too, but I don't know. I missed a little bit of the like, you know what songs they're gonna play. You kind of know what's gonna happen. Still very cool. Wales was better, but
okay. And I was sad I missed that too. So yeah, it's almost like you kind of want to be a noob a little bit that night. Like you want to not be someone who like knows that it's been leaked and like knows that you kind of want to like have a thin grasp on Phish and then get your mind blown, but we all know too much. So
we know too much. Yeah. But it was cool.
And like I wasn't there, so this may be a little bit of like curmudgeonness coming out, but that like I enjoy the Gamehenge stuff in the little bits, like when it's dropped, 1 or 2 songs at a show, and it's like, oh, that's cool, because so much of it is this storytelling, which is cool, but like I will take a sand over Trey talking, like at any show, and like forever. And
it was the guy who wasn't at Gamehenge,
Yeah, shut the fuck up. But it was interesting just seeing like the community react to this stuff that I was like that could have been their intention the whole time, or Trey could have made up 30 minutes before the show started, like, oh, Reba is like Jimmy's cousin, and like, this person is connected to this. I was like, he was sitting there like 5 minutes before the show, like, all right, how can we like do this, but that's also coming from someone who didn't see Gamehenge, so
I feel that though. On night 2 was my favorite night of the 4 nights. So
it's a really good show.
Yeah, that was. Do you guys want to hear some MSG stories?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll keep it somewhat short. Okay. For starters, for MSG, I live in New York City. It's like my guy. And I've learned some years back that when you try too hard or have too many expectations, it's stressful. So I'm kind of like I kind of do MSG mostly on my own, like, and on my own meaning like I'll have a buddy. Vince, I can do MSG forever with him because we are on the same page 99.9% of the time. But
That page being having no plan.
having no plan and like in the
No
moment
page.
being like, okay, I'm going this way, you're going this way, we'll figure it out. Like it's not a thing, Um, so for the first, I had tickets all set for the 2, 3, and 4. And for the first night, me and my friend Chris had loose plans to get tickets together. Then I'm offered a ticket in section 120 from these guys that I met in Atlantic City like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So I was like, Chris, peace, I'm out. I'm doing my thing. Um, and that's just like kind of my vibe for MSG. I'm a little selfish, Chris understands too. So I'm sitting in 120 with these people that, I've run into at Phish shows, but don't really know that well. But of course, every single person I've ever known is in section 120. My brother ends up 3 rows behind me. My friend Jenny's like 7 rows below me. Like Teddy's like right to the left. And it's just cosmic and perfect. And everyone's there. And I'm like, yes, Phish, MSG, we're all here. My 2 buddies who were visiting from Utah, they were up in the 200s. It was their first show. And I
Wow.
wanted them, I wanted to see it with them. Boom, 2 seats are open next to me for them to come down and be with me. And it was just, Phish at MSG, everything's working. You don't stress out about it, and then everything is amazing.
Well, because you live in New York, you've got a lot of,
Yeah.
and people fly in for this. Like, you have a lot of people that you need to see. And if you try to plan out, like, okay, and here's when I'm gonna go see Jenny, and here's when I'm gonna go sit by the new guys, and here's when I'm gonna, like, that would never fucking work ever.
Yeah. You
Like,
gotta just let it do its thing, and then it does its thing. And hey, worst case scenario, we hang out before the show, after the show, set break,
right.
So yeah, we're off to a good start. Night 1. Oh, also, no, I'll skip that part.
Oh man. We are skipping
Redacted.
that part. Redacted
Okay,
part.
Side story. Mission Ballroom Goose 2021, right, Vince?
Yeah.
Okay. I have these glasses that you wear, and it makes all the lights like hearts, and it's like quite lovely. It's a nice thing to put on during a show if like, just it's cool. Also like makes you feel nice and good and whatever. And
Can
yeah,
get you out of your head too. Like there have
yeah,
been times where I've been having like a bad time at a show and then put on heart glasses and it's like, wait, it's all love. Like,
yeah,
What am I talking
totally.
about?
yeah.
Totally. It really does help. So Vince at the Mission accidentally broke the glasses. I,
Oh,
it's all good. They're like cheap on Amazon. I was like, Vince, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get you new ones. I'm gonna get you new ones. It's like, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. Anyways, he sends me a couple pairs in the mail. Great. I'm not gonna try them on in my room because they don't work that way. So they're sitting in my room probably for like a month or so. And then I go to a show and I bring them and I put them on expecting it to be hearts, and they're all smiley faces, and it blows my mind. I'm like first obsessed with smiley faces. Vince didn't tell me, so I was like, oh my god, whole thing, blah blah blah. Um, then, so I have the smiley face glasses. We're back to Phish this year, night 2. Um, Kuroda, I'm like sitting straight on 102 with Sean, Sax, and Jordan. And Kuroda is just like eye fucking us. Like it is like so intense. And I'm like, it's during stash. And I put on the smiley face glasses, and it's just like, "Wah!" And I'm like, oh my God. And Sean sees me and he's like, whoa. And I was like, dude, try. And then he reacts exactly the same way. Then Jordan tries them on, and Jordan's like, I can't. And then Sax puts them on, and it's just like, yep, that makes sense.
these are really good impressions of all 3 of these people.
Yeah, so um that was a good time. Um oh, and then so set 2, I swapped with Niche, so he was in the I fuck zone, and I was back in 120 with Chris, who I had ditched night 1. And we are big sand people. Like, we love sand. We just, and we're just like, it was such a great sand, and the two of us are just like interlocking our limbs and just like falling down. And we were like in the back row too, so you could just like be a little more wonky and just melty, and it was so much fun. It was also fun to like be in set 1 with homies and then different homies set 2. A fun like switch up.
Love a
Uh,
switch up.
love a switch up, an easy switch up too. Um, and then I'll say one more MSG story. It's not really a story, but I am 2 for 2, and it's always I'm always sitting next to Jordan of calling 2001 at MSG like early. And it's only twice, but I'm a fucking genius. And I'm like, Jordan, it's coming. I feel it coming. And I don't know, I didn't like really listen back, but it was crazy early. I was like, it's next. It is next. And then it happens and we're like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm a 2001 like gypsy. I don't know.
You put the sunglasses on. You're like, yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are liking that.
So yeah, it was a good time. MSG.
Marina also started making a list after that moment. I wasn't there, but I saw this via social media of things that she loves, like the best things in the world. And the 2 things on the list were brushing her teeth and 2001 at MSG.
Those are, yeah. And if you get to do them both at the same time,
So you need Marley for.
you do need Marley because she's got the wisps.
Yeah.
Man, I hate to like blow up her spot on this, but that was like huge at Goosemas. I was like that guy. Like you've seen her now give these out to like a lot of people. You guys have gone to a
Yeah.
lot of shows, but I was like first time guy for sure. I was like, oh my God,
It's great.
a toothbrush during the show. Oh, minty
That
freshness at set break.
set 2, like it's just like you're back. So you're a brand new person.
You are a brand new
Professional
person.
professional partiers, those 2, which the Wisps are a great example of that.
Yeah,
Wait,
a bunch of
I have no.
yes.
Go.
Continue,
I have
please.
one more Phish story, MSG involved, and then I'll shut up for
Yeah,
a
definitely
while.
don't tell another story after that one.
Okay, but we're gonna do a little rewind again for it.
Love it.
Vegas, Sci-Fi Soldier Night.
Mm.
I was having a hard time in the beginning of that set. Then they played Clear Your Mind, and my mind got cleared, and I'm like, boom. Then they play The
I love that
Howling,
song.
and I was just like, this is the song. And I'm in this group chat, and like we're all scattered around the MGM, all being like, this is it. This is the guy. After the show, we are in the Hooters parking lot, just doing wook shit, ripping
As is
balloons,
tradition.
and
Yep.
blasting The Howling on our phone speaker, just like on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. My 2 friends that were the ones on night 1 that ended up being next to me, they were like big Howling people with me in Vegas. And that's kind of been like our song since then. Once they get to my
Yeah.
seats, guess what they start playing? The
The
Howling.
Howling.
Yeah.
The Howling.
We're like, of course. Duh. Thank you, Phish. I'm a Phish fan again.
That was not one that I needed to like hear live to get. Like the first time I heard The Howling on the recording, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna need one of these the next show I go to for sure.
Totally.
Me and my brother call The Howling the new 2001 sometimes. So
I wouldn't fight that.
yeah. So
Kind
I
of
would
insane,
take
but I'm with it.
if you got a 2001 into a Howling, I think I'd be good for life. I don't think I'd ever have to see a shit. No, that's not true.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a moment during the Howling at MSG over the summer that I was like, I love we talked about this last time, but I love a well-timed pee of like, okay, a song is starting. I know no one's peeing right now. I'm going to be in the bathroom and out in like 20 seconds. So the howling starts, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go pee. I gotta pee really bad. I start going out of the row, and I'm like vibing with people in the row as I'm walking past, like, yeah, howling.
Yep.
And like, I kind of like stop for a second in front of this one dude, and I'm like, oh yeah, these new songs are sick. And he goes, this guy's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
a lot of them fucking suck. And
Awesome.
I'm just like feeling good. I'm like, I'm gonna give this guy a little shit. And like being a musician myself, like all the stuff Trey writes, I'm like, how like it's just he's a great songwriter, right? Like, and so I turn to this guy and I'm like, just very genuinely, I go, oh, do you write songs? And he just like, you can just see the rage like bubbling up behind his eyes. He's like, are we gonna have a problem? I was like,
I don't.
on my way. Yeah, exactly. I was just appreciating the music and you had to say something shitty. And so I was just giving you shit back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He could have
that.
just been like, yeah. I'd say, yeah. You know, but this isn't fantasy tour at the show. You don't have to fucking
Yeah.
like you were gonna stop and be like, you know what? You're right. Wow. Holy
You
shit.
know,
Actually,
I've been looking for someone in this 27,000 person arena that also
yeah.
thought the songs were shitty. Glad I
Well,
found
for
you.
me, there's a bunch of people getting down, but you, dude,
You get it.
you got like a cool thing going on, like being like that. That's pretty sick.
The howling always brings that up for me. I just think about that guy. It's like, you sad man.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah. You're like, where's that guy? I'm gonna find the one guy standing still right now. There's that guy.
Oh, there he is. That's him.
Oh, there he is. Easy to spot. Yeah. We got a really good Phish show at Dick's when I like the first show I got to see with Sean Putt. And it was a really good first set and a really good second set, but I feel like the howling kind of like solidified, like, all right, this is like one of the best shows I've seen in a long time. That specific howling.
During
Look it
that
up.
howling, the two
Look it up.
friends, the howling friends, they were like 3 rows in front of me. And I was just, sometimes a song's playing and you have no idea that it's playing, and they're like, Marina, Marina. They're like looking back, and I was like, what? What? And then I realized it's the howling, and I just like stumble over everyone in front of me, like bulldoze down. Yeah.
Do you guys
Um,
howl? Do you guys howl?
Yeah,
oh
of
yeah.
course. Of
I mean,
course.
I knew the answer. I just had to make sure.
And then all night after the show too,
Yeah.
as you're walking out,
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
When we were at Berkeley, there was a dude in line in front of us who was like a real curmudgeon dude, but he had like all Nick stuff on, like just such a East Coast guy who like obviously told us that he had seen 400 whatever shows or some shit. And he's just like, I don't care what happens today. I just want to get Seven Below. Like we had been talking for like a while. He's like, I just want to get a Seven Below. And we're like, yeah, man, that'd be sick. So like Seven Below starts during the middle of the show, and the Greek theater is like this little tiny cereal bowl, and so I see him kind of far away from us, and I just like wiggle my way over and like weave through a bunch of people, and I was like, dude, Seven Below, and he's like, what? I was like, Seven Below. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right, cool, cool, yeah. I'm gonna go back to where I was standing.
Dang.
Nuts,
That's
bro.
such a bummer. Like I ask people before shows a lot what they want to hear,
Yeah.
and I remember it. So then when it happens, I'm like, yeah. And they're usually like, you remembered, fuck yeah. But I guess that's Seven Below guy.
He who knows what happened between when he told me that and that moment. A lot of things could have
True.
taken off, and I was just like, "Hey, Seven Below." I can't
I
explain.
got you. I got you.
He's like, "Oh my god."
That does highlight like something that I often we'll call it battle with at a show, which is just like presence of mind of like not getting like lost in your own headspace. Like I think the first show Marina and I did together at Dick's, beforehand we were talking about what we wanted to hear, and I said Reba, And then Reba starts and Marina like turns around and like grabs me and is like looking at me like this. And I was kind of like, what's going on? like, like took me a
You
second to
okay?
be like, oh, this is the beginning of Reba. And I said
Oh.
I wanted it. Cool. We're like we're stoked. But like sometimes you just get lost in like how many times like first tube has started and I've been like, fuck yeah, sand, let's go. And then like two
Yeah.
minutes later, been like, oh wait, it's first tube.
You
Thanks,
just
thanks,
have to
Fish.
not you have to not do that too out loud so that the guy that gave you shit in the aisle doesn't be like, "Really, dude? You think it's first tube? It's in?"
Yeah, guys, he thought it was sand.
Totally.
Harry Hood is like that's my favorite shit in the world. And even at Hollywood Bowl, I was like, all right, I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. And Kyle's like, this is Harry Hood. And I'm like, right. I was like, totally. It's like my literal favorites. I have a fucking tattoo of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that song. My favorite song.
Wait, what's the tattoo? Is it the hood, the milk logo?
That would be sick. That would be a cool tattoo. Fuck. I should have got that. It just says you can feel good. Fuck.
That's great. No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's way
It just in
sweeter.
like it was like a little stick and poke from a friend who was working on it, and I was like, "You could do that. I'll put a little milk bottle over it."
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Wow, excellent MSG stories to start off. I mean, we can get into your guys' first shows, or we can keep telling Phish stories. Up to you guys.
I appreciate structure because fish stories will come up later. So let's respect the pod.
Okay, thank you for respecting the pod. I was about to
Yeah.
disrespect my own pod.
If a Phish story comes up within the structure, then we,
We
That's
go
the
back.
jam.
throw it in there. Yeah.
That's the jam. You
That's
take off.
that's the jam.
It is. Okay, well then what were your first concerts you ever saw in your lives?
Vince, do you want to go first
Ever.
or me go first?
Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we did this last time, but it's kind of like a funny first two shows. Um, First show ever for me was Backstreet Boys at the Astrodome in Houston. Um, don't remember a lot about that except that I was just obsessed with Backstreet Boys in that era of my life, like from like 4 to 8 years old. And lots of old family videos of me dancing around to Backstreet Boys. Really good content there. Um, but that Millennium album just took over the world. Had to be a part of it.
Can we see some of
My
these
parents
videos
knew. My
sometime?
parents knew. Yeah. I'll get them to you.
Thank
Gotta hit
you.
up my mom, but she keeps them close. Um, and okay, so then the first show Backstreet Boys, and then second show I went to Ozfest with my dad, which was like Black Sabbath and Velvet Revolver and like Mudvayne. Like I just remember from Mudvayne, which is like I've never heard of that band outside of that Ozfest, but I just remember during that show of the lead singer, he had like 8 foot long dreads and he was just standing at the front of the stage, just twirling his 8 foot dreads around. And me as just like a 9-year-old kid was like, what is going on? Like, I'm pretty sure I knew like two Velvet Revolver songs, and that's why we were there because like I was obsessed with those songs. My dad was like, all right, we're gonna get you there. But just the other highlights of Ozfest were um some guy standing on the seat in front of me, like smoking crack and passing out, and my dad like catching him and like moving him out of the path of my 9-year-old body. Um, and then a classic case of leaving the show too early. Like it was getting late. We've been there like all day. It's fucking raging metal most of the time. And so we leave before Black Sabbath is over. And as we're leaving, we hear them playing Paranoid. And I have like a moment with my dad of like, we're outside the fence and there's like, trash and homeless people everywhere, but we're just like standing there, like by the fence, like raging to Paranoid, like not ready to leave.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then those two shows are kind of like the poles of my um musical like what I love in music, like soulful, dancey pop with Backstreet Boys and like raging, melt your face off like rock and roll. And like Fish, I feel like sits like kind of in the middle, you know? So yeah, those are my first two shows and my musical taste.
You should make
Old.
like a graph or like a graph like one on Backstreet Boys. What's it called? Oz
Ozfest.
Ozfest,
My
and then
favorite.
like put your bands like in between where they lie on the scale.
Yeah,
On the
like kind of
spectrum.
the news, the conservative liberal news spectrum, but the Backstreet Boys Ozfest
I
music spectrum.
I just like giving you assignments, Vince.
Yeah.
I will do them. I will do them.
And you do
Read
a
the
really good
essay.
job on them, you know?
They turn out to be great works.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dripfield essay has just changed how I listen to that song.
It's
For
That's good
anyone
homework.
listening, hit me up. I don't know if we can put my Instagram handle in wherever you post this or something.
There's no
but
way I'm going to tag you in any of this. I'm going to make you very unfindable.
if you're willing to find me without any sort of help, you get the Dripfield essay.
Wow. And Marina, your first show you ever saw in your life?
First show, elementary school graduation present from Aunt Dawn. Britney Spears,
Spears.
It was Whitney Spears.
Britney Spears, Baby One More Time tour. I wish I could ask my aunt where it was, but I like remember seeing it. I want to say maybe it was in like Woodstock, New York or something, but it was sweet. I like so much stage production. I was a huge Britney girl at the time. Um, yeah.
Not still.
Um, not like I mean, not like I
You, you,
was.
you famously really wanted her to kind of stay in the conservatorship.
Yeah.
You were kind of like,
That is so fucked up.
you were kind of like, ugh, I don't know if I
I was
want her
like,
to get
she,
out, you know?
I want what's best for her. But I think it's just more her early shit is more my vibe.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what's that? Have you ever heard "Don't Go Knocking on My Door"?
That's a deep cut for me.
Dude, after this, go listen to "Don't Go Knocking on My Door" by Britney. It is
Plug a little 3 seconds of the song right here.
Please.
No, it's for you to add in post.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
It's
Great.
my job. It's my podcast. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll do it.
It's sick. It's really good. But no, there's a lot of like deep cuts from the early stuff. Also, my second concert ever was in Sync at MSG, and I was in the fifth row, like on the floor.
Wow.
My so cool, right? My friend's dad is a famous person, and he hooked it up for us
Cool.
kids. And
That's like in the sink. Like you're like
yeah, it's crazy.
right
Yeah,
in
past
the
the
sink.
drain.
it's
You're right in the sink.
it's chair. It was chairs, so like it was a seated. Um, but Pink was the opener for In Sync, and everyone's sitting down during Pink, and I was like, I'm gonna not do that. And I stood up on my
Yeah.
chair. Like I stood up on the chair and I was like, Pink. And then she like waved at me and like blew me a kiss. And then every other girl there got up on their chairs, like trying to make
Stood
Pink
up.
wave at them. And I was like, too late.
Yeah, I
But-
bet you would like Pink to wave at you.
Yeah.
Copycat.
Yeah. Too slow. But I think
NSYNC
that action of me doing that, I think says a lot and paved me out to be the person I am in a sense, you know. I was like, I'm
Very
gonna
Marina
very Marina of me, you know. So
origin story.
You know, you brought up niche before, but he describes himself as a crowdist. He's like, I'm not an artist. I don't get on stage. I'm a crowdist. I work the crowd. And
hell yeah.
that's a crowdist move. Is
It's a
like
super
the
crowdest
guy
move.
who whistles during the silent moment, and then everyone's like, yeah. You know?
Totally.
Yeah. You got to show
I
him how to
definitely-
do it.
Yeah. And it worked. And Pink was probably stoked too, you know.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It always like it kind of bums me out. I try not to let it get to me too much, but when people in the front row are not just like giving it back to the band, it's like it's your job to like make the energy exchange. It's like we did COVID YouTube bands playing in their living rooms, and that was like, cool in some ways, but it's not the live music experience. Like the point of the live music thing is to have the crowd there and this energy exchange. And when like someone, especially, you see it all the time at Phish, of just someone with like sunglasses on, like holding onto the rail, just not moving, like they might be asleep, or like the
Yeah.
jam is peaking and like I can't tell that they're having any sort of experience related to it. Now, granted, there's always someone right next to them with like their top off, like doing the inflatable tube man. But like, yeah, I'm just
Right.
like, man, give me your rail spot. Like the band wants me to have that, if you're not gonna be engaged with them. So
Yeah, and don't yeah, if you're that close, like you gotta hand it to the people who do the rail at the Phish show. There's a lot of people like moving the whole show. Like if you're down there, you gotta dance. Like there's no standing around. Every once in a while they'll do a show like, yeah, like in Nashville or Toronto or some shit, and there's like dudes up there that have never gotten the rail and they're just like, but yeah, you like, even when you're further back in the crowd, like it's sometimes someone will like whistle during a show or like yell out like "fuck yeah" or something, and then people around them will be like, "Hey," because it was like too loud for them. It's like,
Mm.
no, dude, you're at a show, you're at a rock show, you're at a concert right now. Like that, the band needs that actually.
yeah.
There was like same tour I was talking about earlier, or same run I was talking about earlier. We were at the Greek Theater, and like, we're in the middle of that like big long 46-minute tweezer, and there was like you could hear a pin drop. Like no one was like everyone was kind of just like swaying back and forth, and no one said anything. And I could hear a guy like 12 people behind me go like "fuck yeah," like at that volume, like at not a yell. And then everyone, like, it was like popcorn after that. It was like "fuck yeah," and then like in the next couple seconds, the whole place is like roaring and erupting, and you can hear it on the audio. And I think about that guy all the time. I'm like, he started it, dude.
I
He
love that
was like
guy.
the first one to be like, this is sick as fuck, when
I
we were
think
all in a
about
trance.
like comparing it to like it'd be like if at a comedy show, like you're telling jokes and after you tell a joke, nobody reacts and someone just goes, "That was funny." Like that's like are you gonna participate in the live thing or not? Like
Yeah.
dance, yell out, like, and a little judgy of Vince here, but it's like, are you a pure consumer of the art? Like, are you just like, yeah, give it to me. I deserve it and need it, or are you like there to be part of it? And like
Yeah.
for me, dancing, yelling out, like all those things, like even just like the stuff Marina does of like, your friend said they wanted a song and like go be with them during that song. Like you're remembering that this is all connected and like we're all part of it. And it's going to happen in like any big art scene, music especially, and especially Phish, where people are just there to like have their experience and not really like give anything back. But um something my like drummer Carlos is very great at, like he's like how can we like do what Phish is doing but like in our own way. And at Dick's during a set break this past year, he had like there are these people with these massive like suction dildos, there's like dick dildos, and he grabbed one and just stood on a table on the floor like right by the edge of the stands and was like having people throw like glow stick rings at him and like catch them on the dick like during set break. And like people like talked about it in like .net reviews and stuff, but like that's like his way of he's like, yeah, I'm doing like what Fish is doing. Like I'm doing something to like give back and like give people joy.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Um, One more crowd participation rail story. Charleston, night 3, doing that fall winter tour, whenever that was. 2019, whatever. It was night 3 and we were behind the stage, so we didn't really have to do anything, you know? Also, the show
Yeah.
was not my favorite. We were kind of having a hard time, but kind of sitting, having fun with our friends. We had a big crew. Um, but there was this guy in the front row, shirt off from the jump, just going hard the entire time. And we kept just being like, shirtless guy, like still just raging, just going nuts. Then it's like almost the end of the show, end of set 2. And Kylie taps on me. She's like, "So shirtless guy?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." And she's like, "He's missing an arm." And I was like, "Whoa, you're right. He only has one arm." And then we realized it was Aaron Ralston, the 127 hours guy,
Yeah, the guy.
the guy. But he was going so hard, we didn't even notice one arm, and it was,
Yeah.
the James Franco guy. Was a
When
huge Fish
you
fan.
when you Vince said that when sometimes someone's next to him doing the inflatable arm guy, that is the person who I picture, because that is exactly, he is just like arms.
Yeah.
I lose my mic. I like don't even talk into my mic. He's just arms in the air like the whole time, just going crazy.
He's
And he is often shirtless. He is
yeah, he's
shirtless a
he's
lot.
epic. He's epic.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Setting an example. Well, I mean, we're gonna have other examples of crowd activity that you guys have participated in, and we'll get to your best show that you've ever seen in your life. But do you guys have any like honorable mention shows that are like, you'd be remiss if they didn't get brought up amongst the best show?
Vince, you go first.
Okay. Um, so musically, the Friday night at Dick's 2018, the post curveball show. So this was
Yeah.
curveball had happened, not happened. Um, RIP, but fortunately we got a new fest on the horizon.
Oh
Um,
man.
I have
I
my
know.
curveball water bottle though.
Oh,
Curveball.
gotta
Yeah.
have it. Gotta have that.
And so this is the first show after that, right? Friday at Dick's. I
Mhm.
love a first night of the run show because the energy is just so like anxious and wild. Like it feels like everyone in there is just like chomping, frothing at the bit to just like have some fish. And that after the Baker's dozen, um, like when like Fish became even more mainstream than they were, it felt like for me, like I say like Friday is the new Sunday because the whole like never miss a Sunday show got super popularized, and the band is always just like, well, fuck you, fuck that, we're going to do something
Yeah.
different. And
Right.
this is a prime example of Friday is the new Sunday, just absolute blast off from the start. Like opens with Free, Harry Hood in the second slot, like second song of the show is Hood. And I remember on the webcast and on the camera, like they're playing the Hood intro, and Trey is just like staring at the camera, just like this like
Yeah.
somber like deadpan of like, we're sorry curveball didn't happen, but like get ready to get fucked. And
Yeah.
the rest of the show was
You
them
got
fucking
fucked.
us.
It got
Was them
fucked.
fucking us. Yeah, just I mean, like give it a listen. 8/31/18, highly recommend. I mean, the whole show is highlights. It's like just the list of the songs. 5 songs, second set, all this great jamming. Another thing that made it great for me and my experience was it was my friend Mike's um, first Fish show. And as we are walking in, we're kind of discussing songs we want to hear. And I'm like, Mike, what do you want to hear? And he's like, I could go for some Talking Heads tonight. Like, I could be like, I would love some Talking Heads. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like, not a Fish call, but like, that's what you want to hear. Awesome. And in the first set, they're jamming out of Ghost, and you can hear them start to go into shit. What's the Cross-eyed? Like you can hear like the riff start, and I'm like looking over at Mike, and he's kind of like in front of me, and he does this slow head turn with these eyes. He's just like he's getting his wish, and it's terrifying him. Like it's like
Yeah.
those
Oh
Fish moments
no.
where it's like, holy shit. And then watching like the explosion of energy when they finally dropped into Cross-eyed, and like then we just all lost our minds and danced. Like definitely a major highlight of my life, let alone my show going. So yeah, that's my honorable mention for this version of the Marina and Cam episode, or Marina and Vince. It's my podcast.
2.0. Yeah.
Vince's
Hosted by Vince. This is a Loom pod.
Pod. Oh, you plugged it before I got the chance, but we'll do that later.
Oh, we can talk about it now too.
Guys,
Yeah,
check
I'm
out my
gonna I'm
band.
gonna
We're called Loom.
I'm
Come
gonna try
out.
to hit you with one of those during a show one time, Vince. I'm gonna hit you with the dramatic gopher like turnaround guy. Yeah, that's too funny. Marina, do you have any
Yeah. I
honorable
mean,
mentions?
I have like, 7,000 honorable mentions, but
Yeah,
I mean, should I tell Vampire Weekend story? Should I tell Pretty Lights first concert story? Should I tell a different story? What do you guys want? I feel like Vampire Weekend, right?
Vampire
that
Weekend's good.
Vampire Weekend story is, yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty memorable.
Okay. It's different, It's more unique.
I haven't stopped thinking about it since we talked about it last time.
Okay. High school, I guess like maybe sophomore year or something. Me and my friend Mavis are obsessed with Vampire Weekend. Like before Vampire Weekend was on iTunes, we were MySpace music, like just dancing in my bedroom to Vampire Weekend. We love them. Then this one summer, they announced they're playing Summer Stage in New York for a free concert, and we are so stoked. We are just like out of our minds excited. Get all my friends to go, high school, getting way too drunk on the train into the city. Um, get to Central Park, and then it starts raining, and it's just chaos. Everyone's lost. We don't know where we are. Phones aren't working. Um, Me and my friend Mavis were like, we aren't losing each other. We like wander into some coffee shop, try and recover or like clean up, get yelled at for just being covered in mud. Anyways, then we hear through the grapevine that the concert's back on. It like cleared up. So we like run back to Central Park. The line is super long. But we're like, we have to be in there. There's no other option. It's Vampire Weekend. We make friends with these ladies in the front and we like, get into the show. And like literally as we are entering, the music starts. And like I remember it perfectly. I remember like, looking up into the trees and just hearing, I see a mansard roof through the trees. And like I was just like, I can still see the sky and the trees from like that
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah.
So then we get in and Mavis is like, I have a plan. We're getting to the front and I'm going to pretend that I see Kyle, our friend Kyle. So I'm like, great, cool. So he's just like, Kyle, Kyle, like holding my hand, getting through the crowd. Boom, there's Kyle. Like, and we're like,
What?
whoa, it's like literally Kyle. And we're with our friend Allie, and we're just like, oh my God, fuck yeah. And we're just like basically like on the rail, middle, drunk in high school, just so stoked. Um, and
Doesn't get better than that, folks.
it really doesn't get better than that,
He was high school drunk
high school drunk,
at a show.
Mm.
Oh,
Come on.
like,
I'm gonna get high
Some
school drunk
disgusting
tonight.
vodka.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
come on.
get some Fleischmann's and just
Yeah.
go to town.
So
Yeah.
this previews my worst show ever, which I'm gonna tell this high school drunk story. So just
Great,
continue.
can't wait.
Yeah.
So I'm having to pee and we are in the perfect spot. Like I can't leave. Um, then they start playing this song M79 and they bring out strings and it starts downpouring again and it's just the music is still rocking and I'm like, oh, I really have to pee. And the strings are going and my friends are like, Marina, it's downpouring rain, just pee your pants, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, what? And they're like, it doesn't matter, like it's just gonna wash away in a second. So I'm like, all right,
It's smart. It's smart logic.
That's high school logic right there.
tally ho. And I just release my pee and the strings are going and I'm with my friends and I'm at Vampire Weekend and it was so freeing and so amazing and I'll never feel that again. But
Well, you could. You can't feel
you
high
can't
school
get
drunk
high
again,
school
though.
drunk again. Yeah.
That's
You
the
can't
part.
get high school drunk again. I could
You can pee
pee,
your
I
pants
guess.
whenever.
Yeah.
Like our friend Allie, Carp, shout out Allie. Sometimes we play this game, Global Superlatives. Like there's someone in the world who has eaten the most cheeseburgers, right? Like that exists,
Right.
like right. And like I feel like this pea is like one of the greatest peas ever. Like,
It's right up
gotta
there.
be.
I can't really imagine a better one, you know?
If you watch like a Watch Mojo top 10 peas, this is right in there. And there's
Yeah.
been people who have come on since we talked about this the first time that have been like, I'm having, so much fun at this show, but I have to pee, and I'm obviously not gonna like leave, or I'm obviously not gonna like pee my pants. Is what I'm like, right? No one's ever done that. Knowing the story, fully
Yeah.
knowing the story.
Hell yeah. I also found I was like going through old Facebook albums, and I guess someone's like flip phone worked, and I found like a couple photos from there, and I have a picture of
Wow.
Allie, and I'll send it to you guys after. You can see how soaked she is. Like she's just like drenched, and she's like, it's great. Yeah,
You're like, you're literally in a shower right now.
I'm literally
It's
in a
just peeing
shower.
in a shower. Like,
Exactly.
you've peed in a shower, yeah?
With Vampire Weekend playing, I'm
I-
sure.
Fuck.
Probably. Yeah. You know, do you guys still pee in the shower? Let's be honest.
What?
Here and there.
How do you not?
Okay. I'm pretty sure that I pee in the shower every time I take a shower.
It's not every time, but it's like, yeah, it's here and there.
Cam gets up on certain days. He's like, I'm gonna pee in the shower today.
I'm peeing in the shower today. I'm not
I
peeing
don't-
in the
okay.
toilet today.
I don't know, people who are just like, I'd never pee in the shower. I'm like, come on.
Yes, you fucking do.
Yes.
I don't
shut
get-
up.
I don't get how you don't. My younger sister says there are two types of people in this world: people who pee in the shower and fucking liars.
It's the same people who are like, I've never peed my pants as an adult. It's like, yes, you fucking have. Like, I think that you should pee your pants on accident once a decade to humble yourself.
Right.
I
And
can get behind that.
And
Yeah.
to look back at like a rich life, like if you're sitting there at 80 and you're like, shit, I haven't peed my pants. I have never shit myself. Like, you're gonna regret it.
You're not living life on the edge enough. You're playing it too safe.
Yeah.
And I am in my 30s, and I don't think in my 30s I've peed my pants. I've peed my pants in my 20s. And yeah, it knocks you down a peg. It brings you back to you're with everybody else. You're human. You're reminded
Yeah.
that you're human. You know,
Totally. Yeah.
anything could happen. Like, you need every once in a while you need to like be fumbling with your keys trying to unlock your door and just be like, it's happening, unfortunately, in the hallway.
It's always like it's
Sick.
always when you're like almost there too, you know?
Oh yeah, it's just
Yeah.
seeing your house.
Yeah.
You have to
I
pee your
lived in a building with an elevator, and it was always just like in the elevator when we're starting. Yeah.
Vince, pee your
Yeah.
pants recently?
No, and I just turned 31. And so yeah, I'm feeling like this is gonna be a big year. And so I might have to I'm like, I gotta pee right now, and I'm not leaving the podcast. So who knows? Who knows?
Kim, can
Every
you push
moment.
back that callback, and we can make this really long to test things out?
Yeah, I will truly not book a job just so Vince pees his pants on this episode right now.
That's how you know this is gonna be a good episode.
Yeah, man, that's right. You just can't leave. You just can't get up. Wow. So, do you guys have individually, I'm sure, have best shows for just yourselves? Do you guys
But
have
could
like
you
a best
worst?
show?
Could you worst first?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have worst shows?
Coachella 2015. I'm with my best friend Annie, and I'm kind of calling all the shots all weekend. Like, this is set I want to go to, we're going to that set. And she's like, follow my lead and letting me do my thing. And she was like, my one request is we have to go to Drake. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, we can do that. That's like your guy. I'm
Yeah.
calling all the shots. So
He sucks,
Drake
but
is
whatever, we'll go.
he's closing out the main stage on Sunday last day. And usually, like, even if I'm not into the main stage artist, it's a cool production and stuff. But we're at the set before, and it's Gesaffelstein. Do you know who that is? Gesaffelstein. He's a DJ.
I don't
Well,
know who Gustavo Stein is.
He's sick.
Highly recommend.
He's this
Okay. Sick.
hot French guy, just rips cigs, and it's like dark and just fucking epic. And it's in the Mojave tent, which is my favorite stage. And it's just like, it is nuts. It's just like black and white strobes. But Drake starts before Gesaffelstein's over. And like, we're with like all our people. And Annie's like, Marina, like, it's time to go to Drake. And I'm just like, are you not are you not seeing what's happening right now? And like, I like turned to my cousin. I was like, I have to go to Drake. And he was like, what? Like, what are you doing? And like, even like Annie's cousin was with us too, and who was going to come to Drake with us too. And she's like, I'm not fucking going to Drake. This is the sickest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So I'm like, okay, I'm a good friend. Goodbye. Friendship. So, we walk over to the main stage. I'm like, God fucking damn it. I wish I didn't love Annie so much, but here we are. We go to Drake, and it's not good. And it's not just like
Right.
someone who isn't a Drake fan. Like, it was just super, like, the
Right.
vibe of the crowd and everyone was just like, "Bleh." And Annie just looks at me and she's like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And I was like, it's okay. We're gonna have fun. Let's go to the beer tent, listen to Drake from there, and drink like 7 whiskey ginger ales and just like make the best of this. And she's like, okay, drinks on me. We probably spent like $200 on drinks and like spun around to just hold on. We're going home. And I was like, God damn. We get back to like the RV park we were staying in afterwards, and every single person was like, look at Sophistine's set. Look at Sophistine's set. And I'm just like, and Annie's just like, Annie to this day will still apologize to me about that.
You're
Yeah.
like, and Drake was, Drake. He went up. He went up.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
saw it, and it happened.
And it was, yeah, it was a thing that was existed. Yeah.
The crowd was people who were like, "Yeah, I'm really into music. Saw Drake twice this year."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I saw Drake in like 2014 in Chicago at the United Center at a Drake concert. This is his audience, a Drake show. And the place, I mean, the energy was crazy. Like I think it was Migos went up first, and everyone just stood like a pencil. No one was doing anything. And then Drake came out, and it was like screaming the lyrics. People were going nuts. And then the next time I saw him was like a little while ago when he did that like Kanye West Drake
Mhm.
Amazon Prime concert. There was like last minute tickets to that for like $50, and so we're like, let's go. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. It'll be sick. And that was not Drake's audience. It was Kanye's audience. And when he was on stage, it was like, yeah, it was the most depressing thing I've been a part of, because it's this huge, like grand, there's like a chorus, and there's like, you're in the LA Coliseum, and it's like this beautiful night, and it's California, and and Kanye, say what you want about him, like just blew the fucking roof off the place. There is no roof, but had there been a roof, it'd have been blown off. And Drake was just like, and also Drake songs. Anybody? And everyone's like, that's okay. That's okay on the Drake songs. We're good.
So we've learned only see Drake when it's Drake fans.
If it's a Drake show in 2014, hit it up. Hit it up. But I don't know about now. I can't tell you that it was great. That makes a lot of sense, you guys.
Yeah.
And Marina, good job just not swinging on anyone during that. You, like you said, you kept your breath.
I made the best of it. I was laughing at the situation, I was like, this is so absurd.
Okay, good. Well, with that control, let's take that into your guys' best shows that you've ever seen. Are these ones individual of each other? Are they together, or?
So I'm gonna now I'm gonna say that I have a together one.
Okay.
Um,
And I'd
and
love to
it's
hear.
Justin
And
Bieber.
that's a Justin Bieber, and that's a little different than what we're doing. If for those of you listening on Spotify, the pause was just me and Vince are holding up our same little sweaters that we got at Goosemas from Yuri.
Shout
Dead
out
in good
Yuri. Shout out
company.
Dead in Good Company.
Dead in Good Company. Pretty
Makes
sick.
great stuff.
Pretty good stuff.
Marina
of my
decided not
favorites.
to wear hers. But
It's really hot in here.
We didn't text each other, and Vince and I wore them, and Marina came on last, and I was praying like hell that you were going to pop on with it, but
Hey, Justin Bieber Believe tour, kind of sick.
it is.
not Dead in
it
Good
is.
Company, but a good shirt.
Yeah, true.
Also, you love how you just came up with an excuse that we can't verify. You're like, it's hot in here.
It's just really hot.
I can screenshot you the text to my super that I sent right before I got on here, and that will verify it. Okay.
Yeah, that
And I
doesn't
think
tell me the temperature.
we'll still need to see it though.
Okay.
But
Yeah, what's your story together?
So second night of Goosemas 2023, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So as was mentioned earlier, briefly, there's this piece of art content that I wrote at Marina's request, commonly sort of colloquially referred to as the drip field essay. So when Goose was first playing drip field, Marina, the sort of clairvoyant that she is, she was like, "This is the best Goose song. Like it's clear that this is like people don't get it yet," and she was having to explain to people.
That was in 2022.
This is back 2022,
Yeah.
early drip field
Right.
days. She was having to. People were like, "Why?" And she just kept having to like sort of belabor herself to explain why. And so then at like 2, 3 a.m. one night, I receive a text from Marina saying, "Can you just write an essay on why drip field is the best Goose song, so I don't have to explain it to people anymore, so I can just give them the essay." I've since done this, and all this to say is that Marina and I have a special connection over drip field. We love it. It's an amazing Goose song, best Goose song again.
We're
Shout out to
soldiers all
SA.
the time.
Yeah, like why
All the
do you
time.
have to be a soldier? See, we knew Cam get it. We knew Cam got it. Because
Oh, yeah.
before we even really knew Cam, he made his drip field video. And why do you have to be such a soldier all the time? So all this to say, second night of Goosemas this year, which was so they're doing their space thing. So they had those different themes, and I'm trying to look up the set list. Did 99 Red Balloons
Same set.
was earlier
Yes.
in that set? Okay, right.
Yeah.
So Goose is doing this circle themed set, and 99 Red Balloons starts, and it's one of those things where like where a band just has a cover that's so perfect for their sound, and I didn't like they kind of starts and we're like excited. It's like, oh, they're playing 99 Red Balloons, that sort of intro, the slow intro, and then the drop into the synth riff is just like, this is the perfect song for Goose, and holy shit, I'm having the best time. Just like immediately, it was like, what the fuck? Just major moment. Great, our the friend. It's just a super high vibe, and I had struggled the night before. I was like, was I even there at the show the night before? And so the goal of that night was like, let's be here. And so Marina was checking in with me during the show, like, are you still here? Like, are we here? Are we here? And so 99 Red Balloons, super high energy. And then it's the first set, so we're not expecting it at all. But then Dripfield starts, and I remember it was like one of those things where I just like am now, I like have a trigger in my brain. Like I like the first like it starts and I just go Dripfield. And I just like, like I'm like looking for Marina. Like I know it's happening. Like nobody else fucking knows. Like everyone's like, is it Dripfield? I'm like, it's fucking Dripfield. Like where's Marina? Just like throw people out of the way to like get with her. And first set Dripfield ever, which was incredibly special. And then
Is that
after
true?
that,
Yeah.
That's sick. I did
Yeah.
not know that until right now. That's fucking awesome.
Who needs
Sorry,
a game hand?
continue.
You're at the first set drip field.
I did a first set drip field. When have you done that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Thank
Marina
you.
and I consider
welcome.
ourselves drip fielders, and so to drip field with a drip fielder is kind of like a special experience.
Yeah.
And to do it in the first set when the energy was already just so high, it was like it was like nothing could go wrong that night, and it
That's
ended up,
amazing.
the rest of the show, the rest of the night, hanging out at the embassy suites, like it was just one of those nights where my heart was like so full afterwards. Like, I sent Goosemas last minute. Like, I had promised Marina that I would be there, and really did not follow up on that promise until like a week before the shows, and was very stressing about money and the time and all those things. And then after that night and those experiences, was just like, I was very much in the right place. Like, that was exactly what I needed. I felt so good. Um, and yeah, as Marina said, like a few days after, she was like, I just needed to drip field with a drip fielder. And we got to do that in the first set. And yeah, major memories, and as of now, like, best show ever. So
Oh man,
It was so fun.
it was so fun. And you are a drip fieldsman. You're essentially, in my mind, that's now you are who comes up when I hear that song. And it's also like, um amongst their sets right now, like you're getting all of the bangers. Like in a Goose show, like especially in 2023, like you're gonna get like Arcadia, Hunger Site, fucking Echo of a Rose, fucking like Rocked. You're gonna get a lot of those songs like in one show. And I saw my first Goose show in 2023 because I had missed them so many times before, and that's what that show was. And the Drip Field came last, and it was like nothing. It's like nothing else happened that night. It was like that song is so fucking unbelievable. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
yep.
That's the essay, by the way. If you ever get the essay, it's just like a bunch of yeah, yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's like so good.
Goose 2.0,
Just
yeah.
like it's just like really good.
It's so good.
Um, Marina, do you
Yes.
have a best show ever?
Do we have time for two stories if I make them quick, or are you on a
Of
time
course,
crunch? Okay. Okay.
not at all.
Great. Pretty Lights, December 31st, 2012, Roseland Ballroom. Had seen my first Phish show the night before, December
Mm.
30th. And so I was going to my first Pretty Lights show, December 31st, New Year's. And I'd been listening to Pretty Lights. I was very excited. Um, and we go, and it is the best thing ever. There's like pictures of me from that night, and my jaw is just like dropped. Like I just couldn't. I was just, I was in the best place I've ever been. It was like I can't believe what is happening. Um, Show ends. I don't even know what I do for the rest of the night. I'm just like, what the hell? For like the next 3 days, I'm just like, what is anything? What is life? I I don't know how to speak. I don't know how to breathe. I'm the mess kind of, but so stoked, you know? And 3 days after the show, I text my friend, I'm like, Phoebe, meet me at work. She comes to work, and I said, I'm tattooing his logo on my ass. And that's that. So go to a tattoo parlor, tattoo Pretty Lights on my butt. And then I was normal again.
How many days after the show was the tattoo?
Three.
Wow.
After my first show. And then I traveled the country following Pretty Lights, and that was my life then. And
That like
Fish was on the back burner.
and that's fair, especially in that time. But like the after you go see a great show or you come back home from like traveling to go see a great show, like yeah, there's like absolutely a depression. There's
Yeah,
always like oh man, I was just like in the best spot or I was in the best place ever. But 3 days,
three
that's a long
days. And if I didn't get the tattoo, would it still be happening? You know?
yeah.
I could still be like that,
Was it
you know?
immediate relief? Was it as you were getting the tattoo?
Yes, literally. I was just like, I just
We're good.
something needed to be done, you know? So then
Wow.
Yeah, just thank God for that, really.
thank God for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but Pretty Lights
Father,
is back
Son,
now, so that's
and
cool.
Pretty Lights.
Derek Vincent Smith. Um, Most fun show ever. Back to Vince and me together. April Fish Run. Vince, feel free to chime in. April Phish run, the whales, all of the goodness, just an awesome time. MSG, the whales was my favorite gag still. Gamehenge was cool. Whales was better. Heard it here first or last or whatever.
Oh, they're gonna tear you apart online. They're gonna
come
rip you
for
to
me.
shreds.
Come for me.
You can't touch her. She's got pretty lights tattoo on her ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Protected.
We are just so the gag was the whales was the third night. Fourth night was just I was behind the stage with a shit ton of friends, just having so much fun. And then after the show, we are all heading to Sony Hall for Spafford, and we're just like an after party, whatever. Somehow we get there early, like we get this like VIP spot. There's probably like 40 of our friends, like our group, plus like so many other people we know. And we just took down the place. And it was our after party. And it was the most fun I've ever had at a show, even after seeing the whales.
We owned Sony Hall. This is like,
Spafford was
not to be
our
like
band.
those people, but like, so Marina had this little stuffed octopus. What is his name? I forgot his name.
I forgot to.
Well, he's
Garrett.
Well,
so Garrett, parentheses, name
gonna bother
unknown.
me now.
Yeah. We had this little stuffed octopus and we were just like throwing it around the venue. And Sony Hall's like pretty small and they have like these raised side areas with couches. And so like Marina would just be like going deeper and deeper into the crowd as I like stood on the raised like railing and we're just hucking this stuffed octopus like across and over the crowd and just like watching people like at a tennis match like start to catch onto it and go like like Stafford's ripping it on stage, but people are just like watching this stuffed octopus fly over the crowd. And totally harmless. Like if when it inevitably hit someone, it was like, oh, this is cute.
We were
Here,
pretty
here's
good
this.
at it. Didn't we were pretty on
I think
fire with it.
it was like one time it hit somebody. But just feeling in that flow of like I like get a little hippie with it. Like the Merry Pranksters used to bounce like little red balls to each other all the time to see if you were like in the moment paying attention. And I was kind of like thinking that I was like, where are the pranksters tossing this little octopus around? Like, because we just kept connecting and like just was extremely high vibration and like, 40 of us dispersed throughout the show of like keep running into people and be like, hey, and I'm like, yeah, everybody's over there. Like, go find all our friends. Yeah, hard to beat those vibes.
At one point, there was like some chairs in like the VIP section that we had, and my two friends, Chris and Bucky, were just like holding the chairs up and just like up and down, like chairs over the head vibes. And security was just like, okay, sure.
Don't throw them like you're doing with the octopus, please.
Yeah, we could just like do whatever we wanted, kind of, and it was just kind of all you
And
ever want.
epic Spafford show as well. Like the music was also stellar. My
Yeah.
friend Miller is good friends with Brian, the guitarist. Miller's like very recognizable guy. If you know Miller, he's like 6'9" and wears like a neon shirt. Like you could see him on like every stream because he's just like above everyone wearing neon. But he had written Spafford fucks on his chest in like big like Sharpie letters and just kept like going like this at Brian. And Brian was like laughing while like shredding, like melting our faces. And then it got quiet for a second and Miller yelled out, "Take Your Mama," that Scissor Sisters song that Spafford covers. And then Brian just turns to the band and goes like, yeah, let's do it. And they just dropped right into it. It was just like direct request from him. And just again, super high vibes. Felt super intimate. One of those things where like the band and the crowd is one, but really the crowd was just us.
Yeah, and it's like a million little things. Like, seeing a good Spafford show, if you were to be like, that's my best show ever, people would be like, okay. maybe see some shows. Like I don't know, like that's because they're a great show. There's a lot of great stuff out there, but
Yeah.
like it's your best show ever is an amalgamation of little things. And the you guys throwing stuff back and forth is like keeping you guys in the moment and like focused in on each other. But like I'm just also picturing other people in the crowd, like there's a guy like way too in his head because he's on too many drugs from before, and he's just like snaps out of it because he's watching the octopus. Like he's not in his head movies anymore. Or there's like, you know, a couple getting in a fight in the back of the venue. They're like, no, like I don't want to leave. And it's like, no, I think we should leave. And it's like, then they like are watching the octopus. Now they're out of the fight. I'm just picturing like this crowd like watching this situation happen, and everyone joins in on that vibe. It's not about being like the show. You know, you're there to watch the show. You're not the show. But there's also like a
Isn't
level
this
of like,
fun?
look at this
Yeah.
fun happening up here.
Yeah.
You should take part in that yourself a little bit, you know?
Yep.
It's good stuff,
Can't
guys.
can't be in your head when you're tossing a little stuffed Garrett around. Not his name, by the way.
I sent a text out to get the name of the octopus, but I haven't gotten a response yet. But it's gonna drive me crazy until we get it. But we'll get it. No, I lost it. Never mind.
Oh shit.
I
Redacted.
know.
All
Yeah.
this to say, go to shows with your best friends. Marina, I love you so
Yeah.
much. I can't wait till we're at a show together. Same with you, Cam. It has been such a joy to have you both in my life. And like doing shows with your friends is the best. I mean, it's like
The
what it's all
best.
about. Yeah. Like,
Oh yeah. It is the best. And you guys have been the coolest and most welcome addition to my life over the last year, becoming buddies. It was a really cool moment at Dick's when I met you both individually, separately of each other, and we ended up talking about the podcast. And Vince was like, "If I do the podcast ever, I'm doing it with Marina because that's my fucking dog." And Marina separately didn't. Maybe you guys had a conversation about it, maybe you didn't, but was like, "If I ever do the podcast, I want to do it with Vince because that's my fucking homie." And I was like, that was the coolest. Like, you know, people have asked to do the show, but like, yeah, if I'm gonna do it, like, I can't do it without like my best buddy, like how I do shows. And that's what it's all about, guys.
It really
Good
is.
shit.
Yeah. Fuck
yeah,
yeah.
Marina texted me yesterday of like, hey, I know you're busy and on a budget, but like Phish Festival, like what are we doing? I was like,
Yeah.
shit. Here we go.
Man,
Which
Marina like took the fucking reins on the Phish Festival. Yeah, I mean, you're doing great work right now.
I am surprised about how well I'm doing. But I have to give Jordan is helping me a lot too. And I was last night I was like, thank you so much. He's like, no, you're doing everything. I was like, no. I'd be having a meltdown if you weren't like keeping me organized right now. But
I was kind of having a meltdown, and then it was like, well, Marina's got it, and I didn't have to have a meltdown. And so
somehow I have it.
incredible. Other than the festival, which we're obviously all very excited for, do you guys have stuff coming up that you're excited to see, or any shows?
I'm going to Humphreys on Saturday, which will be
Sick.
cool. And then speaking of going to shows with friends, I'm going to this like techno thing after Humphreys, and I'm like 95% sure I'm gonna hate the music, but I'm going with like two buddies that I just have so much fun with, and one of my friends is like really into it. And I'm like, I'm gonna have a blast. Probably gonna hate the music, but I'm gonna have fun because I'm just gonna be with my dudes, and you know,
Yeah.
like anything could be playing. I'm just gonna be being weird, you know.
We'll do your thing tonight,
Yeah,
whatever this is.
exactly. And like when he like my friend who's like really into techno, like we just have different taste in music. But like before we're seeing one of his shows, he's always like explains it and like how it's really sick. And I'm like, I'm sure like it doesn't matter to me, but
I got you.
like, yeah.
I completely get it. Also, people will probably do this when you come with me to my thing.
Totally.
yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, here's my
Vince,
drip field sick.
tell us about your New Year's show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So well, first I wanted to say, and I just saw this on my desk. So I'm holding a little orb-sized bit of space in my time and heart for the sphere. We'll see. I do not have tickets, but they'll be delivered to me if I need them. But
I
yeah,
believe
so
in
I
you.
have no like going to shows coming up because last year I started a band,
That's right.
Loom. And we played on New Year's up at Powder Mountain in Utah, and it was fantastic. I mean, it was like this little bar room is called the Powder Keg, and it's like known for being rowdy. And so like we had people dancing on tables, and we like planned out a New
Mm,
Year's set that was like all it's like, oh, what I would want like Phish to play on New Year's if they weren't playing Phish songs. Like we were doing like 1999 and After Midnight and Possum and Everyone's a Winner and just all these really fun dancey songs. It went super well. We have now two more gigs lined up at Powder Mountain over President's Weekend in February. So that's very
Hell yeah.
exciting. Um, and yeah, just generally trying to do loom stuff. That was another reason why, like, when people were freaking out about like what Phish did with Gamehenge, I was like, my band played a show today. Like, that's like what I care about.
hello.
So, have you heard of us? But this is your chance to. If you're listening, check us out on Instagram at Loom Tunes. Also on YouTube, the same LOOMTUNES. We're a jam band, so if you're here, you're probably gonna dig what we do. Um, Very new, but lots of good potential. And yeah, I have a few gigs coming up. It's like over the last 6 months, we played 6 shows, and we might have like 6 shows in February. So seeing that growth and that development so far is very exciting. And yeah, I'm most terrified and poor I've ever been in my life, but I'm also the
Yeah,
most like
dude.
happy and fulfilled. So and keep doing this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. I joked earlier about making you very unfindable, but I'm not gonna make Loom. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make your band unfindable. We will there will be tags. Please check them out. Please give them a listen and a follow and all that stuff. Because Vince is doing cool stuff. And you're playing good shows and like having shows to play is awesome. And but you'll send over little clips of stuff you're working on, just little things that you're finding by yourself. And I'm like, oh man, this guy's exploring and finding cool sounds. And I'm glad that I'm privy to it, to be honest. So
Yep, yeah, and you will continue to be, Cam. Yeah, it's been interesting. It's like I picked up the bass for the band. Like I grew up playing piano and guitar, and I stepped into the role of bass because we needed a bass player. And so now I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm like learning that like I love playing the bass, and it's like so fits in with like how I think about music and stuff, and it's a big challenge. So. Um, yeah, stoked for more. Appreciate the support. Cam, you have been very inspiring in that regard for doing your thing and seeing it go so well. And just like you talk about like the yes in the tank. I have a yes tattoo on my shoulder. And just like, yeah, you've been very inspiring. And Marina is like my life's inspiration. So I thank you both for being you. Because you're both so you. Like I haven't met anyone like the two of you either, and you're both like such like have become such important parts of my life. So I'm super grateful to be here.
Right back at you, buddy.
dude, yeah, right, exactly, right back at you. I'm happy to be one of your muses along with Marina.
I have
Straight
really
up.
good
Dude,
news. I have really good news.
yeah.
What's his name?
Sheldon.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Name of the
I
octopus.
was
Name of
just
the
I wasn't
band?
gonna get
Loom.
it. Loom. Yeah.
Name of the
And
octopus? Sheldon.
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 Amazing. So that was a really cool conversation that I got to have with Vince and Marina. Man, when I saw that conversation was about an hour and a half almost, I was like, you know what? Well, we're gonna find some stuff to cut out of this. We're gonna find some room in here. There was really nothing to cut out. I think I had a blast listening back to this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Vince and Marina. Um, Man, just two show pros in my book. Really quickly, wanted to chat a little bit about something that I'm doing this week. I'm going to be on the Rhombus Connection on Gemp Radio. That is a community-led Phish radio station. For those of you who are not familiar with Gemp Radio, on their show, the Rhombus Connection, I'm basically doing like a best show ever episode. I'm going on and I'm talking about one of my favorite Phish shows that I ever went to. And actually the show that I'm going to talk about on that show, I don't think I've ever referenced as my best show ever, but it's just another good one to talk about. I'm going to talk about the Saturday show at Alpine Valley in 2019, not the Sunday show, not the Iculus, not the Yem, not the 36-minute Ruby Waves. I'm talking about the Saturday show. For those who are there, you know what I'm talking about. That's a really good one too. Check out Loom. That's Vince's band. They are playing shows in Salt Lake City. They have got a single out called What I Mean. That is the music that you just heard when we transitioned from the conversation to this outro here. Give that a listen. Subscribe to them on what you can subscribe to them on, and to go see them live. Their set lists are very fun. They do a lot of cool covers. Their original songs are great too. Very talented group of musicians. And you'll see Marina out just like bopping around in New York. If you were going to MSG, clearly Marina is a fixture there. She works at the Gin Mill bar. I don't know if I, need to out her like that, but check her out. Go give her a tip, leave a fucking nice tip. Go get a drink. Enjoy yourself in New York City. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode this week. Thank you so much for listening all the way through. If you are new to the show, thank you so much for listening. We have a Patreon page that offers you access to even more of the show. That gives you bonus clips of the episodes. This week we have a bonus clip with Jake Brownstein from Eggy. You also get early access to the episodes. They come out a day early. So instead of having to wait all the way till Tuesday, you get it Monday morning, baby, right there on the Patreon. And we'll also have access to some merch pretty soon here. I'm going to put that up on the Patreon first for a little bit of a discount. And so if you like being first, if you like having bonus clips, become a member of the Patreon. Definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. I post clips over there first. Give us a rating on Apple Music and on Spotify. That really helps people find this podcast, and that would be great. I would love if people found this podcast. And stay tuned next week. We've got a great couple episodes coming out with Roy Donk, the baklava guy. If you've been to a Phish show and gotten baklava, this is the fucking the Don of the baklava scene, the El Capitan of the baklava Phish scene. Roy Donk, we interview him. It's a great interview. And then also Sarah Elaz, his buddy. Sarah's an awesome bassist. She works out of New York. She plays in a bunch of different cover bands. She also has her own band called Boojum Band. And we talk about playing shows in New York and MSG and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for those episodes. Thank you so much for listening to this one. And until next week, guys, have a great show.